Okay people, hi YouTube, how is everybody doing? Today we're gonna try to predict the year one lineup of DLC for Marvel Tōkon, because the last time that we got a trailer, we got a ton of information about the game, but by the end of the trailer, right over here, we actually have info about how many characters we are gonna get per year and also an extra stage. Now, to start the discussion, the first thing that I kind of wanted to go over is what exactly is gonna happen with the overall system of the DLC, because it's 4 characters, and until now, we are kind of predicting that the logic of the game is gonna be team-based, right? Every single, team of characters in the game has a theme, and they are connected in some way related to lore, right? We got the X-Men first, and then everybody tried to predict the other characters. We already did it on this channel, but is that going to be applicable to the DLC lineup? Do we actually believe that the year 1 DLC is going to be only one team that is thematic? I personally don't think that's gonna be the case, because imagine that arcsys shows like the year 1 DLC and it's like, hey guys, Fantastic Four for an entire year, see you on next March. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Marketing wise, I think that choosing only one team, like thematically speaking, for the year 1 DLC is a pretty bad decision. It's not necessarily the best when it comes to selling the game. What I believe is gonna happen is that we're just gonna get random characters, right? Like one character individually related and not connected to each other, and in some way it's gonna be used to create teams down the line. Like maybe 3 years down the line we have like 3 new teams because they are thematically connected, but year 1 they are probably not gonna be related. And I have a list of characters that we are gonna go over, okay? And the first character that I think personally is gonna make it as DLC for year 1 is gonna be Deadpool. Okay, now why am I saying this? If you guys don't know, Deadpool is one of the most beloved Marvel characters in Japan specifically. And this is the Japan Marvel fighting game, right? Like, it's literally the value proposition of Tokon. The fact that it is a Marvel fighting game that is based on Japanese style and visuals, right? And Deadpool, why is Deadpool so popular in Japan? Because Deadpool has one of the most successful Marvel manga of all time. Like, Marvel has done manga in the past, and the one that they did with Deadpool, which is called Deadpool Samurai, is actually one of the best sold mangas in Japan from the Marvel IP or the Marvel universe. And the manga even has crossovers with Japanese characters that are incredibly famous. So to me, Deadpool has an 80% chance of being year 1 DLC for sure. He also doesn't really fit into any of the teams right now. He's not gonna make it into Spider-Man or Ghost Rider's theme. He's also probably not gonna make it into the Avengers with Captain America as the leader, or also into the team that Doctor Doom has. So I personally believe that Deadpool has an insanely high chance of being year 1 DLC and being kind of like the hook that's gonna sell the season pass pack. Okay people, for the second character that I think is going to be DLC in the game, is gotta be Magneto. I think that Magneto, he obviously didn't make it on the X-Men team, and the chances of Doctor Doom having Magneto on his team to me are relatively low, because we have to put Star-Lord somewhere, and the more that time passes by, the more that I feel that Star-Lord is going to be in Doctor Doom's team in some sort of cosmic theme, you know what I mean? So I feel like Magneto is not gonna make it into a general villain team, and he's actually gonna be year 1 DLC. And the other reason why I say this is because Magneto is a very iconic character from the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise. And a lot of people have said that they want Magneto in the game, right? But also the Tokon devs, the developers of the Tokon project, have said publicly that they don't want to just imitate the Marvel vs. Capcom IP and their characters. And Magneto is one of the public faces of MVC as a franchise. So I think that Magneto is going to be in, but not as a base roster character. I think that Magneto could very easily be year 1 DLC connected to Deadpool, and those 2 characters can sell a pack of DLC very, very easily, right? You have a villain and kind of an anti-hero character on Deadpool, so they could very easily complement each other, and Magneto would sell really well, just like Deadpool. So to me, Magneto has a really high chance of being DLC, and this one is actually the character that hopefully I'm wrong. I really hope that Magneto is actually on Doctor Doom's team as one of the villain team or whatever. I really, really hope so, but I don't know how likely it is. So I'm gonna put my bet that Magneto is gonna be DLC on Tokon on year 1. Then I have this guy over here, Doc Ock. And I think that the Spider-Man team on Tokon is gonna have like a couple of Spider-Man villains, but my bet is that it's gonna be Venom and the Green Goblin. And Doc Ock is not gonna make it on the base roster, and he's also going to maybe be a possibility as another villain for the game on Season 1. I think that Doc Ock also is a character that makes a ton of sense for Arc System Works to design. Like, Doc Ock could very easily be a character on Guilty Gear, okay? So I think that it's just the type of visual and gameplay style that kind of like connects with arcsys as a company and what they like to do with fun games, kind of like why Danger is on the game, right? Like, arcsys was not gonna say no to like the hot rabbit girl or something on their game, and I think that arcsys probably feels similar with Doc Ock, but I don't think he's gonna be, you know, base roster because of Green Goblin and Venom, and he's actually going to be a year 1 DLC villain or year 2 DLC, right? I'm gonna put my money on year 1 though, just like I'm doing with Magneto and with Deadpool, but I think that he can also make it as a villain DLC on almost any year of DLC for the game. The next character that we have on the list is Black Panther. This one is the one that has me the most conflicted because I feel like Black Panther can be on the base roster. Like, Black Panther could very easily take a spot on Captain America's theme if it is like Avengers, or even in Doctor Doom if it is Cosmic. Like, he could make it into the game on the base roster, also because Black Panther is not really connected with Marvel vs. Capcom as an IP that much. Like, even though VP was on MVCI, a lot of people hate the design that BP has on that game, and also the gameplay specifically that Black Panther has on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So many Marvel fans and like fighting game fans would be very happy if Black Panther is on Tokon with another different gameplay design, right? But at the same time, I feel like Black Panther is the type of character that you put as DLC to sell like the package of extra characters. Like, Black Panther is insanely famous at the moment because of the MCU, and the character popularity overall has grown a ton over the years. And at the same time, like, Black Panther is perfect for a fighting game because of what he is as a hero, as a character, right? So I would not be surprised if Black Panther makes it as year 1 DLC to also kind of sell the pack like the Deadpool pick, like the Magneto pick, right? And not really make it on the base roster only because of how much he would help to sell the extra characters. Then the next character that I think could make it into Tokon as DLC is Emma Frost, okay? And this is a character in a similar position to Black Panther in the sense that she could also be on base roster. Like, for example, if Doctor Doom's team is gonna be the Cabal, Emma Frost could very easily be on the base roster, and I think that it's kind of like a 50-50. I think that it's kind of like a coin toss for her to be base roster or DLC, but I'm pretty confident that if she's not base roster, if she's not on the Cabal team with Doom, she's gonna be year 1 DLC, and it's gonna be one of the female picks for year 1 because she's a perfect arcsys character. I said many months ago that Magic was gonna be on the game because Magic is literally Soul Bad Guy, okay? Magic is quite literally an Arc System Works character. It's a girl with a giant sword that has demons, teleports, and fire. It's literally an Arc System Works character, right? And Emma, to me, is the same. Like, Emma is the same logic in terms of gameplay and visual design. It's a tall, blonde girl, super attractive, that can have insanely good gameplay design, like in terms of how interesting it can be. And it's literally like the opposite thematically to Magic in many ways, even though it sounds like a very basic comparison. In terms of the overall like layer 1 gameplay design, that's kind of the idea. And like, Emma is another character that I kind of like brand as an Arc System Works Marvel character. So to me, Emma Frost, like, it's either base roster or very likely year 1 DLC. And okay, the last character that I have, my last pick, is gonna be Wasp, okay? The reason why I put Wasp in here is because, to me, she's also a character that can do a lot for the game in terms of gameplay design. Like, putting a character like Wasp or Ant-Man in the game makes a ton of sense for gameplay variety, and I feel like arcsys wants to take a big risk when it comes to gameplay design and put characters in the game that are weird, in the sense that they are not really like similar to MVC, or they don't feel similar gameplay-wise to characters from Marvel vs. Capcom. And I feel like a character like Wasp, for example, you could very easily make her a mix of like a very weird transformation-based character, right? Like, they go super tiny into gigantic, with the transformations and you change the moveset. And for example, when she's gigantic, she has armor and stuff, or she's more similar to a character like Sentinel, right? And has some connection with NBC, but not completely. And when she's normal or super small, the moveset changes completely, right? And for example, when you're small, you can have like left-right mix-up or something like that, and stuff that is very interesting to implement into the gameplay of the game. And also, the reason why I feel like Wasp could make it is because Wasp is a character that makes a ton of sense for a fighting game, like I said, gameplay-wise, but she was also never on NBC. Like, Wasp was never on Marvel vs. Capcom, and she could very, very easily represent a weirdo-style gameplay character without the weirdo visuals, you know? So, I think that there is a chance also for Wasp to maybe be a member of the Avengers on, like, the base roster, but I think that if that doesn't happen, which I think it's kind of like a 30% to 70 ratio. I think that she could very easily be the other female representation of DLC on the year 1 pass. And with what you saw, right, I showed 6 characters. So I had 2 extra picks. And what's probably going to happen is that it's going to be 2 male characters and 2 female characters, right? So very easily it could be like Black Panther, for example, Deadpool or Magneto, and then Wasp and Emma Frost. I think that that's a very good year 1 DLC lineup, and I feel like it's actually relatively likely. I don't think that is weird at all if those characters make it as year 1 DLC. Silver Surfer, Gambit, Cyclops, and Rogue. A lot of X-Men, right? That's an NBC fan right there, a 90s X-Men fan. I know when I read that message who I'm talking with. I mean, I would love to see all of those characters, Silver Surfer, Gambit, Cyclops, and Rogue. But I don't know how likely it is. I think that only one of those could be year 1 DLC. Cyclops specifically, I believe, could very easily make it as year 1 DLC, but all of those, I don't think so. Purple Man as a puppet character, that's a very deep cut pick. But I mean, arcsys show that they are willing to do deep cut picks, like we got Danger in the game. So maybe Purple Man can make it. I wanted Gladiator, but he got mogged by the champion in the intro. Yeah, it's true. It's true that Gladiator got mugged in the intro. But I mean, that doesn't mean that he couldn't make it if he's a part of the story. Maybe he's like a boss character in the game or something. The Punisher and Moon Knight. I mean, I think that the Punisher could make it in Spider-Man's team. Because the Punisher is technically like a... How could you say it? Like, the Punisher could make it in Spider-Man's team because the Punisher is technically like a New York hero. Or a New York character. So if Spider-Man team is that specific topic, if it is like New York-based heroes, it could be Spider-Man, the Punisher, for example, Daredevil and Kamala, right? Moon Knight could also make it into Ghost Rider's team. If it is the Midnight Suns, like Moon Knight could make it. Enchantress, Mr. Sinister, Squirrel Girl, and Taskmaster. I think that from those, Taskmaster has the highest chance. But not as base roster, as DLC, I would say. And Mr. Sinister, I guess it could also be a pick. I don't think it is that weird for him to make it, actually. And Man-Thing, I've seen a lot of people online asking for Man-Thing in the Midnight Suns. If Ghost Rider is that team, I've seen a lot of people like praying for the Man-Thing slot. So I hope that it gets to be in the game because it seems like a lot of people like it.